Wingman of Reddit. What crazy things have you done to get your friend laid? I had a party at my house and a lot of people ended up crashing there because they were way too drunk to drive home. All the rooms were occupied except for mine. My buddy met this girl and really wanted to hook up with her but had nowhere to do it. So I offered up my lovely, innocent bed to spread his baby gravy all over. I slept on the ground in the other room and woke up the next morning with a note thanking me. A $20 bill. And my sheets in the washing machine. That guy took your bro gesture and gave you another back. What a bro. It's the bro cycle, broing forward. Pay it Broward. Buddy of mine was talking to a girl who was making not so subtle hints that he should get over there. He unfortunately was about 90 minutes by car away and didn't even have a car. As it was 1 a.m. he didn't even have public transport to avail himself of. He mentioned his dilemma to a small social group and I decided he was losing his V-card that night. I drove 20 minutes to his house. Then 90 up the coast to drop him off near 3 a.m. Mission was a complete success. Went out with a large group of friends for my best friend's birthday. Ended up in a club. My friend had been drinking heavily throughout the day, and we were meant to be meeting up with a group of girls later on. One of whom was a long-time interest he'd had. Just as we arrived at the club, he threw up. Everywhere. I mean just all down himself and just looked horrible. Anyway, as was expected, he sobered up pretty soon after. And just kept saying how he couldn't believe he'd blown his chance with this girl. A few friends said he should just go home and call it a night but he was getting more and more upset because apparently she'd said it was a sure thing if he met up with her. Now, he didn't have much luck with the girls and I really wanted this for him. So I took him to a nearby alley and, after actually having to convince him to make this happen, got him to switch clothes with me. He went in, had a great time, and has now been with the girl for about 3 years. I went home in a taxi covered in sick. I only get partial credit for this one because I didn't actually do anything. But it's still my favorite. So, every year a bunch of friends and I go to DragonCon in Atlanta. Last year I couldn't go because I was deployed in Afghanistan. So my buddy decided to get a 5-foot-tall print of a picture of me, paste it to a board, and carry it around the whole time. Apparently it was a great conversation starter and the whole "I'm bringing my friend here in spirit" thing played extremely well. He ended up sleeping with some girl dressed as Lara Croft. So I had this friend. A white and nerdy type. 18 and eager to lose his virginity. One night I decided to take him out to a house party and introduce him to another single friend. A hot chick, a naughty librarian type of girl. A couple of drinking late for both of them. They really start to hit it off. So I walk off to do my thing. The night is great. Dancing, drinking and F-king around. Then I see my friend at the bar kitchen bench surrounded by 2 guys pushing and yelling at him. Naturally I walk over to sort this out. Apparently he spilled a drink of one of the guys. And the guy was pissed that his socks are wet. I try to talk things out without resulting to violence. Which clearly isn't working. So I tell my friend to go back to the girl. And I stay back and deal with this a whole. Thus I ended out getting into a fight with these 2 blokes outside, mainly getting the S beat out of me, while my friend was getting his brains F-ket out in the bedroom upstairs. Still to this day haven't told about the fight. I had a friend who was open visiting and she didn't want to sleep on the couch, so I told her that she should just sleep in my roommate's bed with him. She was good looking and he is a neckbeard. So he was happy to have a hot girl in his bed. After a couple of nights, she tells me that he hasn't made a move and it's getting annoying. Of course, she is unwilling to make a move either, so they just stay up all night talking about painfully stupid s that I'm sure no man cares about. But he is entertaining it because of the chance he might get some. The next day I ask her if he's made a move. She responds, he's still being such a sweet guy. But I saw some co-doms. I'm not sure if he is trying to give me a hint. I then ask him if he's hooked up with her yet and he tells me, no. But I found condoms on my nightstand that I didn't put there. My response, she might be giving you a hint. Go for it. He goes for it and bangs her for the next week. They still don't know it was I who bought the condoms and strategically placed them on his stand without telling either of them. My dorm neighbor was having his girlfriend over but had nowhere to fool around since his roommate also had a girl over. Being nice, I gave him my room and planned to sleep in my other neighbor's room. I slept in my neighbor on the other side's room. Until he starts having phone sex with his girlfriend. I ended up sleeping in the hallway on the floor with a pillow and a quilt. Not really crazy, but I was always in on some of the magic tricks that a buddy would do at a bar. This involved stuffing a card into a girl's purse with her back turned to me, pretending I was just a stranger who miraculously has her card in my coat pocket. This system actually worked to some degree. So are you Ted or Barney? This girl was really into bi guys. So I kissed my friend in front of her. I am a guy, my friend is a guy, my friend did get laid, the kiss was 6/10, we still homies. At a bar and saw my friend checking out a pretty bi girl. I went over to her. Bought her a drink. Told her it was from him. She looked over at him and smiled. I made small talk for a while and could tell she was into him, and she was the kind of girl that would have a one-night stand. I could tell I wasn't doing much though, so it was time to bring out the big guns. I topped off my drink. And just told her bluntly, this guy's into you. He's got a big DK. And walked away. He got laid that night. My friend was sleeping over at my house. My parents and brother were all sleeping upstairs while we were downstairs watching TV. Playing video games and At around 1 a.m. he asks if this girl can come over, he really wants to get with this girl. And I don't want to turn him down, so I reluctantly agree. On the condition that she's quiet. The three of us are hanging out and I make some excuse to leave the room so my friend can have some alone time with this girl. I'm upstairs in my room when I start hearing loud moans. This is bad news for me. But great news for my friend. He's losing his virginity to a girl he really likes. I hear stirring in the next room and I know that their bout of loud lovemaking has woken my parents. The last thing I want is for my confused father to walk in on my friend F-king this girl in my basement. What do? I go to Pornhub. Click on the first video I see. Crank that S to 100 on my speakers and let it play for the 3 minutes that my buddy ended up lasting. My dad ended up coming into my room. Discovering the source of the noise, I even threw in some FP ping motion under the covers and awkwardly leaving. My buddy ended up having the best F-king time ever, bro, but Jesus, there were some awkward glances exchanged between my parents and I the next morning. If I was interviewing you for a job, I would hire you based strictly on this story. Please give me one example of when you've used your problem-solving skills to solve a difficult situation. Well. Single quote. Piggyback carried a girl to a friend house about half a mile away. Just kind of dropped her off as soon as we got in. Crashed on the couch and said, you two kids have fun. You were like some kind of FCK taxi. I let a gay dude play with my knee so my gay buddy could hook up with his friend. Didn't know gay dudes were into Neela play edit, I'm a straight guy by the way. Posted this in another thread, but I count Kevin Spacey as my best wingman. Not really crazy but still awesome. Probably will not be seen. But Kevin Spacey is awesome in person. When I first met him I thought he would be a total dick. I was visiting New York with a friend of mine and my friend took me to my first Broadway play. Which, being from a small town in the South, was F-king spectacular. I mean the effects and everything. I recommend to go see a play in New York to everyone. But anyway, we were walking out of the theater and my friend, who hid his pint in his leather jacket going in, asked if I wanted some, so I said sure. Then it hits me like a Mack truck, like, how about we go in the bathroom and drink because no cops should be around. So we go into the bathroom and there is this one guy pissing, so we act like we are washing our hands, which seemed like forever. We got pretty toasted before the show. The guy walks out and we start swigging away on it to finish it. So in comes Kevin Spacey. My friend and I are dumbfounded. My first thought was hide the bottle in my hand, and my second thought was this is Kevin Spacey, he smoked WD in American Beauty. So he just walks in and gives us a nod. Uses the urinal and while he's pissing says, to this day I will never forget it. Are you here for the show or to watch me piss? Since I was lit I blurted out, we are here to drink. My friend slaps me upside the head and nothing but silence. He zips up and turns around and says, good, so am I. He whips out a flask and we pass him our pint. We bulls it for a couple minutes. He says it was nice to meet you and whatever. But the best thing was this. I told him this is my first time in New York and was wondering if there was any good bars. He said try such and such. My friend and I looked at each other, then he left. We walked out thinking he probably thought we were gay. So long story short. We go to this bar and mention Kevin Spacey said come here after we got out of this show. Apparently he called ahead and told the guy what we were wearing and everything was comped. We did not run up a huge tab or anything, but we were sat in the VIP section and everyone looked at us like we were gods. Also, we got laid that night. The tab was probably like $300 and we told the manager we wanted to pay. He said no. So we left the woman who waited on us a $200 tip. Also, we took a couple women to our hotel room and had some more fun. My friend passed out after doing tequila shots with the women. So long story short, Kevin Spacey hooked me up with my first and only threes. Me to this day I do not tell this very often because no one believes me. But rest assured, if you meet him, he is a godsend. A large group of us decided it would be fun to break into an outdoor pool late at night and go for a swim. A girl that one of my buddies had been interested in for some time was going to be there. So naturally he made an appearance too. They ended up chatting for quite some time. And it looked like they were going to go home together. The night started to die down. And the only people left were myself, my buddy, the girl, and another friend of mine. As we're preparing to leave the pool, the police show up, just one car. So a couple of officers. And are about to arrest us. I can see the massive look of disappointment on my buddy's face. So I take a deep breath and shout, wild card buy chess. Toss a huge bin of pool toys into the pool. And jump on top of the police cruiser and Ked. Fortunately, both of the officers chased after me. And my buddy and the girl managed to run away. They hooked up that night. And have been dating for 8 months now.